Have you ever wondered how your brain manages the sheer, overwhelming chaos of the world around us without just completely short-circuiting? Well, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking the anatomy and physiology of a tiny, absolutely crucial neural checkpoint called the thalamus.
To really wrap our heads around the thalamus, we have to look at it as a very strict checkpoint. Think of it as your brain's biological bouncer. It's standing right there at the door of your conscious mind, evaluating every single piece of incoming information and making the call on exactly what gets in and what gets turned away.
And, that leads us to a pretty profound question. What actually controls your reality? I want you to think about your immediate sensory experience, right in this exact moment. You're sitting in a room somewhere, right? You might be feeling the texture of your clothes against your skin. Maybe you're hearing the subtle hum of a refrigerator or an air conditioner, or seeing the peripheral light coming through a window. But until I just mentioned them, you probably weren't actively noticing all of those things at once. Your immediate sensory experience is heavily curated. Not everything you see or hear is granted VIP access to your conscious awareness.
Okay, let's dive into this. It's mind-blowing to think that all of this incredibly complex filtering, all of that sensory management, relies on one singular, magnificent biological concept. There is just one primary sensory checkpoint in the human brain, standing directly between the chaotic outside world and your higher cognitive processing. It's this elegant, highly centralized system where literally every single piece of sensory information, with the sole exception of your sense of smell, has to pass through.
Now, to truly grasp how the thalamus operates, we have to look at a core dichotomy here: anatomy versus physiology. We're talking about both the physical structure of the gates, the literal biological hardware, and the dynamic rules of filtering. That's the software that dictates exactly how this bouncer behaves in real time.
So, first things first, let's unpack the thalamic anatomy. The architecture of these gates consists of a symmetrical, twin-lobed mass of gray matter, and it's situated right at the top of the brainstem. So before a touch on your arm or a sound in your ear can ever reach the outer cerebral cortex to be consciously processed, that electrical signal must physically route through this specific anatomical bottleneck. It's the tangible, biological checkpoint.
All right, let's move on and see how this builds. It's time to unpack the thalamic physiology.
Now, here is how the physiological magic actually happens. Raw senses are constantly rushing up your nervous system, basically demanding entry. But the thalamus doesn't just passively let the crowd through, it actively filters. It's dynamically inhibiting some signals and exciting others based entirely on your immediate cognitive needs. Only those approved signals reach your awareness, preventing an immediate and total sensory overload.
So, synthesizing both its anatomy and its physiology reveals the ultimate sensory checkpoint. You see, the physical structure literally forces every signal to this specific location, while those physiological rules ensure that only the relevant data survives the journey up to your conscious mind. Together, they create this perfect system of biological security.
And this brilliantly illustrates why the thalamus is perfectly described as the gatekeeper of the senses. It is definitely not just some passive relay station. It is an active, highly discerning guardian of your perception, utilizing both its central anatomical location and its incredibly complex physiological duties to protect your mind.
Which brings us to a final, slightly provocative thought to leave you with. What sensory information is your thalamus filtering out right now? Is it the feeling of your shoes resting on your feet? Maybe the ambient noise humming outside your window? Your perceived reality is a highly curated version of the world, quietly managed by a silent biological bouncer. Keep questioning what you perceive, and thank you so much for joining this explainer.